Hey, how's it going? So I've actually discovered that not a lot of people have actually read the Bible. I have actually never read the Bible, and a lot of people actually never have because of the way everything is actually set up. So the way that it is that we're actually given not the Bible, but a version of the Bible. Like you could read a KJV, King James Version. You could read an NIV, New English Version, or an English Standard Version, or any other version. So, a version is basically another word for a variation. A variation is a variety. That's why there are over 30,000 church variations, church variety, church versions, because anyone can change a certain word and create a different meaning to it. So, understanding that every dot and every iota means something would mean that every translation is a distortion because those dots, those iotas are missing. So when they're missing, it means that you have a piece of the puzzle that's missing. So when he says every dot and every iota, it actually really means every dot and every iota. So we actually have dots, but we don't even have iotas. So in that sense, we're not reading a Bible. We're reading a version of it, because of course it has to be translated for the Gentiles, right? So that being said, the necessity is there that it has to be translated. But through translation now, there are certain, I don't know if they're like gymnastics that are happening, like certain spiritual elements that are presented. So, you know what? The Bible is the greatest book ever written because it speaks about things that are to come, things that were, and how they're supposed to actually operate. So when you actually read the first line that actually speaks about the creation, in the beginning God created heaven and the earth, it's speaking about the presence of God, and it's speaking about creation, speaking about the beginning of time. God created heaven, which is space, and earth, which is matter, in the beginning of time, space, and matter. So it's talking about the elements of the universe that create everything that is in the universe: space, time, matter. And from this we get the equation E equals mc squared. And from this equation we get an atomic bomb, an atom, the smallest indivisible unit in the world, which is actually divisible because fusion and fission. So an atomic bomb comes from that knowledge of space, time, and matter. So this atomic bomb is fusion, which is fusing, or fission, which is explosion, right? Not exactly explosion, but which is separating. So with this knowledge, we have the knowledge of good and evil. You know that with a nuclear bomb, atomic bombs, we can power a city forever, or we can destroy the world forever. So this is space-time matter, E equals mc squared, because we're talking about in the beginning God created time, space, and matter. So you hear this, you see this in the Bible, and it's actually translated and related in a way that someone might just see it and be like, ah, God, oh. But it starts with God. So everything else in it has a deeper meaning. But my point to say is that you've probably never actually read the Bible, because I have never read the Bible. If you're reading the Bible, you're reading it in Hebrew. And when you're reading it in Hebrew, it means that you're getting a different understanding, because even that first line in the Bible sounds different in Hebrew. So in Hebrew it will be different. In Greek it will be different. So you have to realize that when you're reading the Bible, what you're supposed to do is to go to the roots. You don't read it, you have to study it. Because of the way that it's set up, you have to know, if you're a Bible scholar and you don't know any Greek words, any Hebrew words, then you're not reading the Bible. You're certainly just skimming through it, and you can never get the full understanding of what is in that text. So you have to be able to like read it, digest it, reread it, and study it. So in this way, you'll be able to actually get or unlock the certain keys to the kingdom that are hidden in it. So there's a lot of things that are hidden in it. So first line again, in the beginning God created heaven and the earth. In Hebrew, what you're actually going to read is that in the beginning Elohim created everything, right? Elohim, which is actually the gods. So with that understanding, like if you actually read the Bible right now, it's been masked. Like the people who gave us the Bible don't want you to know everything about the Bible. They want you to know certain things, but they want you to dig deep for the other things, because the God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, right? So you have to go beyond the surface. Like they don't even tell you what God is, or who God is, who they are, who he is, or even who she is, right? So when you're reading the Hebrew Bible, you're gonna face a lot of different words, names, places, objects, and things like that from when you read and your version of the story. So it's been converted in a different way, and it's been masked or hidden in a different way. So people don't actually know the name of God because it's not in your version of the Bible. It's in the actual Bible where you just read it plainly. But in your version, it's not there. So you actually have to dig deep, because maybe they believe that some people are not worthy of that, but I don't know how they arbitrated that. But that is how it is. So you're gonna find certain things missing from your Bible. There are actually verses missing, like when Jesus gives the disciples the keys to the kingdom and tells them that this can only be done through prayer and fasting. Some Bibles don't even include fasting. They just include prayer. You know, those types of things tell you that it's a version or a perversion of the actual text. So you have to put it in context so that you can get the content. Because if you don't, then you're just reading or skimming. You're just skimming. Because this is how the system is set up. This is actually how it is set up. So you actually have to know what's what and what's going on. For example, one of the stories that's related in the Bible, right? You can get it in the Vulgate Bible, which is the first Bible, not the King James Bible. The first Bible in Latin, the Vulgate Bible. It speaks about how Moses went up to the mountain, and then when he came down from the mountain, he saw people worshipping a cow. And then that's the same story in the Bible, right? So in your version, it actually says that his face was radiant, it was glowing, it was shining, and they had to cover his face with a veil because it was scary to people. So in the actual version of the Bible, the Vulgate version, the Latin version, the actual Bible, it says that he had horns coming out of his head. And this is actually articulated in art, because when you look at the art before people were colonized by different countries, the art depicted what was in the Bible as Moses coming down from the mountain with actual horns. So this is Michelangelo's artwork that was commissioned by Pope Julius II. Because this Pope knew what was in the Bible, I'm pretty sure. Because popes know what's in the Bible. Because they are the ones who authorized your version of the Bible. So whatever version it is, it doesn't matter. It's all authorized by the Catholic Church. Because if your Bible has the 66 books of the Bible, it means that it's authorized by the Catholic Church, who sat down and decided everything that is in the Bible, regardless of the church. So they might not meet on terms of doctrine, but they meet in terms of document. So this is how the Catholic is an actual word for universal, the universal church. So everything that is in the Bible is authorized by the Catholic Church. So he came down from the mountain, and then he had horns on his head. Horns on his head. Like horns on his head. So this is the story in the Bible. And then it's veiled, because he was actually wearing a veil covering his radiance. He was illuminated, luminous, Illuminati. And then now the thing with Illuminati is that it's just a word that's been adopted by certain people. Like if I start calling myself a light. Yeah, just like Israelite, like Israel's light. This is the light. This is that luminous, because they actually have the light of God. God is the father of lights. But when people say Illuminati, they start getting scared of actual light, which is funny. But well, it is warranted, because the serpent gave certain people light, so it's actually one of those things. So right. So it's actually one of those things that that's why you have to actually study the Bible, read the Bible through and through, look at it in different angles, because what it's talking about is something else. And we just have a version that converts us to a certain church, converts us to a certain belief. But what we're supposed to do is to just know God, and to use this as a point of reference. So this is just what I leave with you, and I hope you got that. So thanks a lot for listening and watching.